Today on Time About the Movies, Liam Neeson is back in a brand new action thriller directed by Jamie Collet-Serra, who he'll work with several more times in the next couple of years. Unknown, featuring January Jones, Diane Kruger, Aidan Quinn, and also Frank Langella among its cast. We have I Am Number 4, which is a film that is basically another attempt to create another Twilight, Harry Potter hit franchise based off of a series of books for teenagers, but this one has local ties to me because they filmed this at the place where I went to high school and graduated from high school, so we'll talk more about that. And then clearly the sequel that everybody's been asking for. I mean, the demand was clearly there for a Big Mama's Like Father Like Son, the third installment of that series, right? Yeah, I didn't think so. February 18th, 2011. This is Time About the Movies. Proof that bad movies, we thought we'd get some good ones by this point, but this time it's gonna be a while before we get some good stuff, I feel like.
Rated PG-13, February 18th.
Welcome to Time About the Movies, and today we are taking a look at the three films of February 18th, 2011, and our first movie is Liam Neeson starring in Unknown, in which he plays a professor who wakes up from a 4-day-long coma and sets out to prove his identity after no one recognizes him, including his own wife, and another man claims to be him. Sounds like an intriguing premise, but sadly this is one of those movies where it pretty much falls into predictable territory that you think it's going to fall into. It's literally North by Northwest for a modern generation, except it's not taking place in this time it's taking place in I believe England, right? Berlin. I'm sorry, Berlin. It's been a while since I've seen this movie, but I remember not liking it back then, and I just watched it again recently too. And yeah, it has not held up. It's not gotten any better since then. It's a movie that you could pretty much see the direction it's going to go right from the get-go. Some of it could be an intriguing possibility for a good premise, but it's just not there. And this is one of those movies where I felt like this was Warner Brothers trying to make their own Liam Neeson action franchise, because Taken was such a big hit 2 years ago, and everyone was trying to copy. When something is successful, that somebody's going to be right from the get-go waiting to go ahead and copy that success. They're going to do it again in a month from now with their own Twilight franchise and Red Riding Hood, and yeah, you can pretty much tell how that's going to turn out before I even tell you how well that movie did. But I guess to the film's credit, it's not the worst thing ever. It's not a bad movie. It's just a film that's just been there, done that. It's a movie where, yeah, Liam Neeson's the badass in this movie. That's cool and all, but can you give me a plot or something? Can you give me a reason to stick around with this movie in general? It's just not there. The story is mediocre. There's nothing exciting about these characters whatsoever. It's just a been there, done that story that we've seen done to death before so many times. And this is just not an entertaining movie. It's just kind of a bland film, a bland, forgettable movie. There's nothing of value to it whatsoever. I didn't like it. I really didn't like it. Despite the best efforts by Liam Neeson to try to hold it together, even he's not enough to save the film in general. And Liam Neeson can usually save a good movie or a bad movie when he needs to. I mean, he may do the same thing this weekend with The Naked Gun coming out at the time of recording this on July 28th. So yeah, with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, which is I Am Number 4.
I Am Number 4, rated PG-13.
Yep, one of the many attempts to try to bring a young adult series to the big screen, and this one, they didn't even wait for the books to actually come out before they started making the movies. Yeah, no joke, this book came out less than 6 months before this movie came on August 3rd, 2010. This came out on February 18th, 2011. They only had 6 months to make this movie, in between the book and then the movie. You can kind of see why the film didn't do well. I mean, it did decent business overall. It did make its money back, and it did become profitable worldwide, but at the same time, the reviews were not that great. Nobody was really giving a crap about it, per se, and it was just a film that, they were going to do a sequel and all that, and they were even going to do a reboot of it, but the demand just wasn't there for the film, unfortunately. The premise this is a film that, it's based off, like I said, it's based off the novel by Pitakett's Lore, which that name alone, that sounds like a fake name. You know that Simpsons episode where Homer, Bart, Principal Skinner, Selma, and Moe decided they wanted to create the ultimate young adult book because they know it's going to sell well, and Lisa's trying to write a book and she can't do it, and then she eventually joins in, and Neil Gaiman eventually joins in. Timely, by the way, because that was around this time this was actually released. That episode aired, but yeah, this is the Pittacus Lore sounds like the name that feels like that's a fake name they came up with for that. I mean, that's what it feels like when I read this name, Pittacus Lore. But I Am Number 4 revolves around John, played by Alex Pettyfer, who is an extraordinary teen, masking his true identity and passing as a typical high school student to elude a deadly enemy seeking to destroy him. 3 like him have already been killed, but he is number 4. Number 4 of what? Yeah, that's a big question that you have to figure out beforehand, and the film does not tell you about that whatsoever. But despite all this, I don't hate this movie. I kind of like it. I don't think it's great. I think the worst thing about it is the script. And this is not written by hacks either. This is written by Alfred Gould and Miles Malora from Smallville. You know, these guys have written good stuff in the past, and this just felt like a film where they literally had no idea how to write this because the book wasn't even out yet. So how are you supposed to write a movie off of the book if you don't even know what the book's about? And the line readings in here the lines are pretty bad here, but you know, one guy, you know, Timothy Oliphant is somebody who can make those lines work. The lousy lines in here are so bad, but he's the one who's really given it his all in this movie. Like, you know, I think Alex Pettyfer's fine in here. He's come a long way from Alex Rider, Operation Stormbreaker. I mean, he's passable in here. Diana Agnon from Glee is in here, getting the chance to prove her acting abilities, and again, does a decent job here. Teresa Palmer is kind of okay as number 6 here. She's not really used that much at all. You think in the trailer she's going to be all throughout the movie, but no, she's only in there for like the climax of the film, and that's it. Like, the dog creature that's in this movie gets more screen time than she does, and speaking of the dog in this movie, the main creatures that the enemies use have the ability to change into other animals, which, again, never explained whatsoever, and that's the main problem with the movie. They never explain anything that is going on, with the exception of why the enemies are chasing after these 9 Lorians, if you will. Like, you know, why can the creatures change into animals? We won't know. Where the 2 internet guys got that footage of John with his lightning powers? We'll never know. Every event in this film is never explained at all. This is a film that just has one of the worst scripts for a film like this I have ever seen. So it's amazing that I came out of it going like, this actually wasn't that bad. I mean, again, maybe it's because, like I said, it was filmed at the high school I graduated from. This came out about 4 years after I graduated, so I'm seeing that they were making a big budget movie like this, literally like 10 minutes away from where I live. I mean, that's... Of course I'm going to get... I mean, I've said it before. I've got Pittsburgh, what would you call it? Pittsburgh, Kryptonite, if you will. Like a movie that's shot in Pittsburgh, regardless of how bad it is, or Western Pennsylvania in general, regardless of how bad it is, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to like it. Like Zack and Miri Make a Porno, which wasn't a bad movie. Striking Distance, which is a widely bad movie, but a fun movie for me. This is another one of those movies where it's just like, this is not a great movie, but it's fine for what it is. The best way to describe it is that it's a fun, dumb summer action movie in February, because this came out in February, of course. And DJ Caruso, I think, can make it work. I mean, this is the guy that did Disturbia. This is the guy that did Eagle Eye. He does a good job with the action sequences. The actors are doing the best they can with the material given. It's a fine movie. It's fine. Like I said, it's nothing incredible. It's nothing amazing. It has one of the worst scripts you could possibly have for a movie like this, but I didn't come out hating it. I just kind of was just like, this wasn't bad, but I think it's just because of the fact that it's literally was shot 10 minutes from where I live. I mean, that's something I got to give it credit for, and that's the school I graduated from. So that's like I said, it's not a good movie. I wouldn't even recommend seeing it for yourself. But me personally, I didn't hate it. So I don't hate it because certainly our last movie is the one that deserves all the hatred in the world. Because you know what we don't need. Big Mama's House to be a trilogy, but some idiot at 20th Century Fox, probably Tom Rothman, who was still at the company at the time, so looked at the catalog he had and said, "You know what America really needs? A Big Mama's House movie. Let's go ahead and get that guy whose career was completely tarnished from Tropic Thunder, too." You know, in 2025, we have gotten a lot of sequels that have been completely pointless, have no reason to exist. You know, Happy Gilmore 2, Karate Kid Legends. We've had a lot of sequels that have no reason to exist ever since Top Gun Maverick kind of changed the game as a whole. But yeah, here's an example of a movie that has no reason to exist, and only exists because Fox is so desperate to make a trilogy out of anything so they can have those 3 movie collections inside of Walmart in the $5 bin, because that's the only way you're ever going to see this movie. This is what do you expect, man? Malcolm Turner, played by Martin Lawrence, has gone back undercover as Big Mama. His teenage son, Trent Pierce, played by Brandon T. Jackson, in what is essentially the last movie where he was taken seriously whatsoever, because his career after Tropic Thunder crashed like a bad roller coaster accident. But he's just graduated from high school and is accepted into Duke University. However, he prefers to pass on college and pursue a music career as a rapper named Prodigy. With his mother Sherry away on vacation, which basically means Neil Long said, "I'm not coming back to this fucking franchise." Trent tries to get Malcolm to sign a contract for him, but Malcolm refuses as he believes that Trent should get his education. Persistent to get the signature, Trent stalks Malcolm while he works on a case and witnesses a murder. To keep Trent safe, Malcolm goes undercover as Big Mama for the 3rd time. Trent joins him going undercover as Big Mama's great niece, Charlemagne Daisy Pierce, at a performing arts school for girls. Trent tries to develop a romance with one of the girls as himself, while Big Mama is being pursued by the school's goofball security guard, played by Faison Love, who has a fascination with big women. That premise alone tells you everything that is wrong with this fucking film. First of all, a performing arts school for girls. Gee, I wonder what was so popular back then for 20th Century Fox that they had to put it in every single bad sequel they had. Oh wait, Glee. Yeah, this is the 2nd movie in 2 years where they brought in this whole idea of a musical art school and all that. Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Squeakquel, even though that technically wasn't an art school, they were still trying to save the music program, so we had to have musical numbers in here. Let's throw in the Big Mamas. Why? Fuck if we know, but hey, Martin Lawrence is back in the suit that people kind of wanted to see again. I mean, I don't know. I like the first Big Mama's House movie. It's nowhere near the levels of Tootsie or Mrs. Doubtfire, but it was fun for what it was. The second one was just... yeah, it was just nothing bad. Just mad. Nothing offensively bad. Nothing that's terrible in any way, shape, or form, but it did not need to exist. And just like this movie, this one didn't need to exist. Seriously. Who came up with this? I mean, who was asking for this movie? They didn't even try with this film. The film should have just been called Big Mama's House 3. We're taking your money because you have no brains if you like this. Everybody in this cast is horribly misused. Brandon T. Jackson, Sherry Shepard, Faison Love, Jessica Lucas, Martin Lawrence. Are your careers really this bad to drop to this low? Like, you have no idea how much I hated this movie. I had seen Little Fockers and Diary of a Wimpy Kid in the years since this movie before this movie came out. Those movies were bad. I mean, Diary of a Wimpy Kid was one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. But this right here takes the cake compared to Little Fockers. Little Fockers is bad, but Little Fockers was like Citizen Kane compared to this garbage. At least Little Fockers had somewhat of a reason to exist, but because the first 2 movies were so successful and it had a large fan base behind it, nobody was asking for this movie. Like, nobody was asking to see a Big Mama's movie on the big screen. Like, you wonder why the Dr. Dolittle sequels went straight to DVD. Because they couldn't get Eddie Murphy back, and they realized nobody is going to go see this movie in the theater. Even though Dr. Dolittle 3, they were going to try to put in theaters, and then somebody was just like, "Bitch, are you crazy? You got no Eddie Murphy, you got no Norm Macdonald back. I mean, fuck off with that." And somebody should have said the same thing about this here, because, yeah, this movie is fucking terrible. This is one of the worst pieces of garbage I have ever seen in my entire life. This is way, way worse than Little Fockers was, because Little Fockers was at least trying to come up with laughs, tried to be funny. At times, it did kind of do that, but not at many. The actors were at least trying in that movie. They were at least had a purpose for being there, for the most part. But this is just inexcusable. Nobody was asking for this movie in 2011. Not in 2006 when the last movie came out. But 2011, 11 years have passed. We have seen far better comedies before Big Mama's House, is after Big Mama's House came out, that are so much better than this pile of garbage. This useless movie that is not funny. It is not a entertaining piece of entertainment whatsoever. The villain in this movie is not threatening. His name is Jerkoff, because get it? His name rhymes with Jerkoff. Just like, fuck you. Just fuck off and die already. This franchise just needed to die. And sure enough, it did die because nobody was going to do another Big Mama's House movie. At least not yet. I mean, we are living in a time of legacy sequels, so who knows? I'm guaranteeing you we probably get Big Mama's 4 or something like that before the decade is over. I'm not even, it's probably already in the works right now. I mean, yeah, you know, hey, Tom Hoffman's not at Fox anymore, but hey, he might find a way to bring it to Sony. I mean, after all, Regency Enterprises is no longer associated with Fox, so take that for what you will. And yeah, by the way, speaking of worthless sequels that we don't, look at what's playing on my TV during my review. A sequel that nobody was asking for in Freakier. I mean, who knows? It could be good. I mean, it's good to see Lindsay Lohan back in a role where she's doesn't look like she's embarrassing herself or wanting to be a party girl or what. And Jamie Lee Curtis is always fun and all, but I'm sorry. I'm getting sick and tired of these legacy sequels because they keep getting worse and worse and more pointless than ever. You know, we just had Happy Gilmore 2, which was not nowhere near as good as Happy Gilmore was. It wasn't funny. It wasn't clever. It was pretty much everything that Big Mama's Like Father, Like Son is. There was no reason to make this movie except for name recognition. But by this point, nobody cared. This movie was so bad that I almost walked out. This would have been the 4th movie in my life I've ever walked out of. And as I was really going to walk out, the moment I walked out, the movie had already ended. The credits started rolling, and it's just kind of like, oh wow, I completely stayed around for the whole movie. But then they started doing a rap during the end credits. It's just like, okay, now I'm leaving. I'm not nothing of value will ever come from this point at this point going forward. So I'm just kind of rambling on at this point, but I think you get the idea. Big Mama's Like Father, Like Son sucks. It is one of the worst comedies I have ever seen, and I think it is one of the worst movies, if not the worst movie I've seen this in 2011. I'd have to double check. Plus, we've still got a couple weeks to go to look through all the films of 2011. But if it's actually no, it is not the worst movie of 2011 because Sucker Punch still has yet to come out. So Sucker Punch is still the worst movie of the year. But this is definitely very high up there with the worst movies I've ever seen in my life, and one of the worst movies of the year so far. Just terrible, terrible movie. Big Mama's Like Father, Like Son. I think you get the point. Yeah, I think you got the point. I hated Big Mama's Like Father, Like Son. And, yeah, usually we would get to start getting to the good movies by this point in time. You know, the dumping weeks have come and gone. So that means that mid-February on are the movies that the studios believe in. Does that mean they're going to be good movies? At least this weekend, not so much. But next weekend on Time About the Movies, we'll wrap February off with 2 movies, including the Farrelly Brothers' latest film, Hall Pass, with Owen Wilson, Jason Sudeikis, and Jenna Fisher, along with Richard Jenkins, in a film that I remember not hating it, but I remember not liking it as much either. How's it been in the 14 years since then? We'll talk about that tomorrow. We'll also take a look at Nicolas Cage starring in Drive Angry, in 3D with Amber Heard, in a film by the same people who made My Bloody Valentine 3D. So we'll see if that one holds up. I mean, we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll get back on the right track next week, but we'll find out then. But until then, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you found some enjoyment out of this one. But if you did, please go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, right where co-host for 3000 is from Spill.com, and then hit that notification button so you get updates on when new videos come out. We do post new videos here every day, and we also have our playlist here, and also check out our last episode we did. So, with all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.